Okay, our next part of polynomials is going to be division of polynomials. Okay, so what we need the division of polynomials for is to find the x-intercepts of cubics. So, we said we were going to be doing cubics mainly when we're looking at polynomials, so that's why we're going to do that. Alright, so for example, when you sketch a cubic, so say they're the axes, so your cubic sometimes looks something like this. So you could have possibly 3 x-intercepts. So we need to use the division of polynomials to find those intercepts so that we can sketch our basic cubic graphs. Now, like with quadratics, when we go to get the x-intercepts, we factorize the cubic, and then we let those factors equal 0, and then we would find all the x-intercepts. So, and we can do that. But to factorize a cubic, so the quadratic, we would know if we had a quadratic, so x squared plus 6x plus 9, so we normally use the cross method. We're going to have to use division for this, and when we do division, we're going to have to remember our long division. So I'm going to practice that here with this question. So when we have 172 divided by 13, so when we do long division, so first we go 13 obviously doesn't go into 1, so then we go 13 into 17. So 13 into 17 goes once. Now with long division, what we do is we multiply that out. So we go 1 times 13. And then we subtract to find the difference. So when 13 went into 7 with 4 left over. So then what we do is we can bring this 2 down. So with short division, you often put it there. You said the 4 left over. But with long division, when we set it out, we do it like that. So we bring this 2 down. And then we say 13 into 42, and so we go, well, 13 into 42 goes 3 times. So then if we're working it out, we go so 3 times the 13 is 39, and then we subtract to see what the difference is, the remainder. So we'd have a 3, which is the remainder. So this is how we would do long division. So if I said I would be answering this, 172 divided by 3 equals 13. It goes 13 times with 3 remainder. So we can say the 3/13 left. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how we can use the long division process to find factors in a polynomial. So a polynomial, this one we have is a quadratic, but it could be any expression there. So we're going to set it up like long division. Okay, so the first step is you're going to take the x squared and you're going to divide it by x. So we're divide the x squared by x. So if you think, how many times does x go into x squared? Well, it's actually x times. So then we do that. So then, like in long division, we're going to multiply it out. So we're going to do x times x, which is x squared, and then we're going to do x times -2, which is -2x. So then the next thing we do is so I'll write that step in. Okay, the next step we're going to do is we're going to subtract like we did. So when you subtract this, you'll have x squared minus x squared, and you'll see that that eliminates. That would become 0. And then we have 7x minus a minus 2x. So that minus and a minus becomes a plus. So we're left with plus 9x. So then what we do, so we've subtracted. Then what we do in long division, we bring down this plus 11. Okay, and now we're sort of back to like at the beginning, but this time we're going to divide 9x by this x up here. So if you go 9x divided by x, so 9x divided by x, that equals 9. So plus 9, so we'll put plus 9 up there. And then we would do the multiplication again. Okay, so we're going to multiply 9 by the x, and also by the -2. So if we do that, so 9 pi x is 9x, and then 9 times -2 is -18. And then we do the next step again, where we're going to minus. Okay, so when you minus it, you should see the x term, or now the x term, disappear. So 9x minus 9x is 0. Then we have 11 minus a minus 18. So that becomes a plus. So we get plus 29. Okay, so once you've got rid of all the x's, so this now actually is like our remainder. So if we remember in the one before, we could say, if we wrote out this question, so if we said x squared plus 7x plus 11, now we could either say divided by x minus 2, or we could write it like this, x squared plus 7x plus 11 divided by x minus 2. Now we can say, well, that equals x plus 9, and then we had 20, I'm going to say plus 29 remainder. So we had 29 left over. Okay, so there's our remainder. And the remainder just gets put over whatever you were dividing by, which was up here. We were dividing by x minus 2. So obviously we couldn't go any further because we can't divide 29 by x, because that's why. So as soon as you get down to a constant number, that's it. So that was just division. So we're just, at the moment, we're going to just practice dividing, and it will lead into factorizing. Okay, so I'm going to do this one with you again, and we won't bother writing all the steps, but you'll go through with you. So we've got x to the power of 3 plus x squared minus 14x minus 24 divided by x plus 2. So what you're dividing by goes outside, and the term we're dividing goes under our division bar thing here. All right, so if you remember back to the first step, so we said how many times, if we divide x cubed by x, so we're dividing x cubed by x, and that would be x squared. So we write the answer up the top, which is x squared. You then get that, and we multiply those two out. So we'll end up with x squared times x gives x cubed, and x squared times 2, positive 2, is 2x squared. Okay, we then subtract. When we subtract, we should see we lose the leading term, which is the cube. So x cubed minus thing, so that becomes 0. And then we've got x squared minus 2x, so we end up with minus minus x squared. Okay, so then the next step is we're going to see, we're going to divide this. So we're going to say negative x squared divided by the x up here. All right, so if you do that, that would be negative x. So we pop negative x up the top. Now, remember, we drag this down so we can do the next bit. Okay, and then we're going to do the multiplication of our negative x. So this negative x is going to get times with that and times with that, which will bring it down here. So we've got negative x times x is negative x squared, and negative x times 2, okay, so negative x times positive 2 is negative 2x. So the next thing we do is we minus that. So we see that x squared gets eliminated. Now we've got negative 14x minus a minus 2x, so that's going to become plus. So we'll end up with, it will be negative 12x. Okay, and then we're going to bring down this negative 24. Okay, so our next step is we're going to say negative 12x divided by x. So that's going to equal negative 12 up here, and then we'll do the multiplying out. Okay, so we get negative 12 times x, which is negative 12x, and negative 12 times positive 2, which is negative 24. So when we subtract this one, so we end up with actually 0. So we have no remainder. Now, if you divide something and you have no remainder, so say for example, if I say 6 divided by 3, we know it exactly gives 2. So when that happens, so there's no remainder, there's no little extra, there's no third bit, it exactly goes through. So when we have no remainder, we know that what we divided by, if there's no, what we divided by, it must be a factor. What divided by must be a factor. So in this case, we're going to say x plus 2 must be a factor of this expression here. Okay, so what we can say, so when we write that, if I wrote it out like a fraction, minus 24, and what we did is we divided by x plus 2, well, that exactly equaled the x squared minus x minus 12. So that was the answer. So like up here, when we said 6 divided by 3, the exact answer was 2. Well, here's our exact answer there. Now, this part up here, or this bit here, is known as, that's the quotient. So it's the answer to the division. So 2 is the quotient of 6 divided by 3. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do one last one. But don't stress, this is a little bit difficult, so we will be doing some in class. So I just wanted you to get some down in your book, and we'll do heaps together, so don't stress. All right, so they want me to divide the 3x cubed plus x minus 3, and they want me to divide it by x minus 2. So I'm going to say 3x cubed divided by x, and that gives me 3x squared. So then when I multiply it out, the 3x by the x, I get 3x cubed. Now 3x squared times negative 2 gives minus 6x squared. Okay. Then we're going to subtract that, and when we subtract that, we lose the leading term. Now I've got, now we've run into trouble here, haven't we? Because if we have a look, this is not a squared term, so I've missed a step. So we're going to add that in, and so just watch, the screen will change what we need to do. Okay, so what you can see before, there was no squared term for me to minus it from. So when you should go down, now I need a squared term. So what I simply do is just put a 0x squared term in, because it means nothing, but you'll see it gives me an answer, because when I do 3x cubed minus cubed, that gives a 0. Now when I do 0x squared minus a minus 6x squared, it becomes plus 6x squared. And we need that for the next bit, because we now go, all right, 6x squared divided by x, so that's plus 6x, and then we multiply it out, so we get 6x squared. Now we should have brought this little x down, so we have something to work with, and then 6x squared times the negative 2, which will be minus 12x. Okay, then we're going to subtract. Now we're going to see the x squared gets removed. Then we've got x minus and minus 12x, so that becomes plus 13x, okay? And then we bring this negative 3 down, and we're going to multiply, we're going to say, 13x divided by x is plus 13, so then we multiply it out, we get 13x, and 13 times negative 2, which is minus 26. We then subtract that, we see the term, so 13x minus 13 is 0, then negative 3 minus a minus 26 is a plus 26, so we get 23. And because we have a leftover, so this becomes my remainder. There's no more x's to divide into. Okay, so if I was writing out this, what we've done, we did 3x cubed plus x minus 3. We divided it by x minus 2, and we found that to be equal to the 3x squared plus 6x plus 13. So we found it went in that many times, plus we got the remainder, which was 23, and we had 23 of what we divided by, that amount. So like we said before, this bit is called the quotient, and this bit is the remainder. Okay. I will show you in class how to do it on the calculator.